All right, hello, welcome back to the stream. Is everything working? I think everything's working. So yeah, there's not much to say other than Gunforged is coming out on Monday. So we're getting right to the end here, and yeah, I'm not going to be making any super large changes. So mostly we'll just be doing some tweaks and whatnot. So yeah. That's what we're going to be doing today. I've got a couple of things written down that I'd like to get to. So yeah, we'll see how much we get through here. Is this? Yeah. Okay, I was confused. All right, so going to get through some of these things in the to-do list here. But before I get started, again, Gunforged comes out on Monday. So if you haven't yet, please wishlist it. Also, please consider purchasing it if it looks like your kind of game when it releases on Monday. And yeah, otherwise you could check out my Udemy courses if you want to learn how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. Those are all linked in the description below. So yeah, let's get right into it then. Hello, Hori. How are you doing? Welcome, welcome. So yeah, the first thing I want to do here is I want to do some stuff with the controller rumble, but I'll save that for now. I wanted to reduce the rarity of this deft reload. So I was playtesting a little bit this morning. This dash reload is a little bit too common, and it's very powerful. So on dash reload both guns and gain infinite ammo. So this, I think this just needs to come down. I don't know, I'm going to knock it down to like 6. Because it's going to be brought up as you get more evasion things. But yeah, I want to just knock that down a little bit. And then the other thing that I wanted to do is I want to increase the duration of this flesh monster. So I'm actually going to commit that. So reduce rarity of dash reload. And then the next thing I want to do is that flesh monster one. What do I call it? Flesh monster passive. So this flesh monster is really fun, but he doesn't survive for that long. So I want to bump this up. I'm actually going to bump it up quite a bit. I'm going to do 10 seconds. And so that way you can get like a little bit like of an army going of these guys. I think that would be really funny. 4 seconds just wasn't enough time. Because the way that this triggers is, I think it's you have to kill a certain number of enemies. Let's see. Yeah. You have to kill 10 enemies that are affected by bleed and haunt. So the monster used to last 4 seconds. Now I'm making it 10 seconds. And that should make it a little bit easier to build up a good amount of army here. So let me see. I just want to make sure that I test that one specifically. Refactoring project, very nice. Oh, I gotta change these settings. Options, turn that down, turn off full screen, turn that off. I was testing this, so I undid a bunch of settings. Okay, so what was I doing? Add passive flesh monster. Ooh, yeah, that's kind of at the bottom. I might have to reword some of this. Let's see. Let's see if I can reword some of this. Every 10. No, maybe that's fine. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to reword that. I'm definitely going to have to... I think I had this problem on a previous stream as well. that specific passive was a little bit too wordy, but that's all right. Anyway, so we need a worm gun. Let's do a worm. And, oh, I should have kept the necromancer. Actually, you know what? It'll be easier if I just slap both of those on. Okay. Spawn rat 20. And let's see. There's one flesh monster. There we go. I got 2 of them. Are you going to die? Oh, there he goes. Okay. Yeah, I think that's nice. So it actually is going to last for a good chunk of the wave because the end game waves only end up being like 40 or 50 seconds. So you're actually going to get this guy lasting quite a long time. So that's going to be great. Let me think if I can reword this a little bit. Flesh monster that deals 15% DPS. Every 10th in it. Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to reword this. Enemy killed by bleed and haunt. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I might just have to leave this. The problem is that it's just a little bit too close to the bottom when I have it. So if I add this, whoops, wrong one, I'm gonna die. Yeah, this current kills down here is just too close to the bottom. I need to remove like one line from this, but I don't know how I'm going to do that. I don't know how I'm going to reclaim some space here. Enemies killed while afflicted. Hello, Dione. Welcome back. How are you doing? Oh, man, this is tough. I don't have enough space. Let's see. Let's see. Killing 10 enemies affected by bleed and haunt. That should work. Killing 10 enemies affected by bleed and haunt spawns a flesh monster. That should reclaim the space that I needed. I think that will free up that last little line that I needed there. Yes, killing 10 enemies affected by bleed and haunt spawns a flesh monster that deals deep 10%. Yeah, there we go. Now I got a little bit of space there. Woo! Okay, I did it. I hit the limit. I packed as much information in there as I possibly could. Okay. So that is good. And what did I do here? Change the rate. So increase lifetime. Lifetime of flesh monster. In eating to go to the job. Are you... I'm not so sure what that means. Are you on a lunch break? Or are you eating and then you're going to go to your job? Eating breakfast or something? You've been programming websites for 10 years, right? I want to host a website with Google Ads to make money. Any tips? Yeah, I mean, the kind of websites that I was doing as a professional were like software as a service. So I don't know anything about setting up like a blog with Google Ads, because all of the services that I worked on were subscription-based services. We didn't have ads anywhere on it. We were always offering a service to customers or businesses that would just, you know, subscribe for a monthly fee. So I don't know anything about that, unfortunately. Yeah, make a SaaS, yeah. I wish it was that simple. I've tried my hand at making my own subscription services several times across a number of different applications, and it was never successful, but I would like to make a SaaS product someday that actually makes money. That would be nice. But alas, that is not today. Because right now I'm trying to make games that make money. Anyway, so we're going to do that one. Add controller rumble when passive slam down. So let me go to my passive ingot animator. It's hard, you need to find a niche, yeah. Yeah, I thought I found some niches, but apparently not. Apparently not. I always thought like there's like huge opportunity to do stuff for like local businesses, because their websites are always terrible and they always lack certain types of functionality, like being able to send text messages and whatnot. So one of the apps I tried to make was like a very inexpensive like SMS app that small businesses could use to reach out to their customers, but yeah, that didn't work. Yeah, because the other thing too is like you can offer the same service as other big services, at least to some extent, but then you can like severely undercut the pricing, you know? So if you can go to a small business and say, oh, you're paying $500 a month for this, I can give it to you for $50 a month, you know, that could be a selling point, but that was my thought anyway. It didn't end up working. On ingot impacted, here we go. Is there nothing in here? Wait a minute. Am I going crazy? So this, if, let's just do this. Global input manager dot vibrate controller. Let's do just 10f.2. I gotta try this, hold on. Passive reward selection screen. Oh wait, I don't have my controller plugged in. No. Okay, there we go. Got it plugged in before the game started. Okay, that works. Yeah, where is that rumble coming from? Oh, it's probably the... So there's a rumble when I select one. There wasn't a rumble. Yeah, it's probably the select ingot effect, right? Yeah, vibrate controller. Might make this just the same here, except turn this down. Okay, that works. I do have one ideating right now with Collaborator, and we are optimistic. Oops. That's good. You were thinking of something like an indie games forum? I actually don't... I liked the vibration that I had before, actually. I know this is kind of boring because you guys can't feel the, the controller vibration, so you're just watching me just try something? Oh, I moved. Okay, hold on. There was a SaaS I've seen for local municipalities where they host and build the websites. Yeah. It's only building in Cold Fusion? Wow. Yeah, I think, what were some other ideas I had for local businesses? Yeah, building websites, I mean, we had that, I had that idea with a friend too, like, if we could just build like a bunch of like easy to reuse components and just like whip together websites and add contact forms and all that stuff and do the SEO for them. But that's not exactly the same. Like, ideally, you'd want to just keep collecting payments monthly without really doing anything, right? And the problem with building websites is that if there's a problem with the website, then they reach out to you and now you gotta handle their request. I mean, you get that with SaaS apps too if something goes wrong, but ideally you build a SaaS app where it's just like what you see is what you get. It either works or it doesn't, right? And like, you either keep paying for it or you don't. But someday I would like to do that. Okay, so I think that feels fine. Add Rumble to passive screen. Okay, that's done. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to expose a bunch more stats to the player through the stats window, or the stats screen. I was watching your video about pixel art and I was asking, I want to ask, does preview or zoom out, is that essential for pixel art? Hello, Kville. Yeah, I think being able to see what your pixel art will look like on the normal screen size, because when you're super zoomed into the pixel art, it doesn't give the same impression as when it's zoomed out. I mean, one of the reasons why pixel art is so effective is that, like, because it's small, individual colors and individual dots, individual pixels can actually completely change how you interpret a shape in the art. So like here, I don't know if you can see this very well, but you see how there's like a single black pixel right there on the leg of the imp? It's just a single black pixel, and it's going into his body a little bit. But what that does is that makes it look like the leg has depth, right? Again, I don't know if you can see it that well, but so if I wasn't viewing the imp at sort of like a smaller scale zoomed out, I may not be able to catch the impression that my pixel art is making. Because if I'm super zoomed in and I'm just placing pixels, it's going to look a lot different. It may even look bad, right? If you're really zoomed in and you're working, you may say, this looks way too blocky, or like, this doesn't make any sense. But when you zoom out and everything gets crunched together, you start to see like the patterns emerge, and the delineations between the different parts of your art. So I definitely think it's very important to continually view your pixel art through different sizes, through different preview sizes. Ideally, you want to know what it looks like in your game, like relative to everything else. But even when you're just working in Aseprite, like zoom out and look at it in a small window. And if it looks good, then it is good, right? But yeah, it can be misleading if you're too zoomed in and too like hyper focused on a specific area. Sometimes all you got to do is just like tweak 1 or 2 pixels, zoom out and see, oh, that worked, you know? So anyway, you have to compete with itch primarily, but many others, yeah. Right, yeah. Yeah, there are some SaaS apps that just like you need seed funding for it, right? Like, I don't even know how Uber got started. Like, how would you do that? I would imagine, I'm gonna guess, that Uber got started in terms of like getting drivers on the app by literally just going and paying people to be like pilot drivers, right? So instead of just saying, here's the app, and then wait for signups, they go out with cash and they say, we're gonna give you, like, drive for a week, we'll give you $1,000, right? Drive for, you know, a month, we'll give you $5,000. And they do that for a couple dozen or a couple hundred initial drivers, and then try to get people using the app too. I mean, that's kind of how SaaS works in a lot of ways, right? A lot of SaaS companies will just burn through cash to acquire users before they're profitable, because like if you're a SaaS app, you're not going to make any money unless you have users, right? So you dump a bunch of money into acquiring users first, and then you can jack up the prices, right? Which is why I'm so suspicious of Discord, because Discord has so many users and it's still free, and I have a hard time believing that Discord Nitro is making enough money to make them profitable. So I'm sure they're doing some shady, oops, almost cussed on the family-friendly stream. I'm sure they're doing some shady stuff on with regards to data and whatnot, but I don't know that for sure. But yeah, it's a good idea. Like, I think the entrepreneurial spirit is good, Dione, and I think that you should definitely try it out. I don't think you should expect success on your first couple of tries, but the only way to learn is to keep trying. So you're welcome. You're welcome, Kville, and welcome to the stream. Okay, let's go to the stats screen. And I'm gonna add some more stuff in here. Ooh, this is gonna be this is actually gonna be kind of tricky. Okay, so I'm gonna actually need to change the, yeah, I'm gonna need to change, because what I want to do here is I basically want to, I have this engraved header now, and what I'll do is I'll say like general stats, right? So this engraved header needs to be, it needs to be uppercase. Okay, so I can set this to general, right? And then I'll just have general stats, but then I want also like, oops, I don't know, like boss or something. But all of this is kind of generated, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna load this as a placeholder as well. I'm gonna rename this to placeholder. I think this is loaded as a placeholder. Yeah, I'm gonna rename this to placeholder as well. Okay, mark this as unique. Yeah, thank you, Dione. Yeah, I mean, I think the reason I'm sharing like all the things, like I would consider myself a very entrepreneurial person. I've tried so many different ways of making money using my skill set, and the only thing that's been successful so far is the Udemy courses, like what I would consider successful. But the reason I was able to get to that point is because I had all those other failures, and I learned a ton about like marketing, and I also learned just a ton about, in that case, like video editing and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of one of those things where like, yeah, you might have success with your initial business idea, but you should probably expect to like churn through dozens of ideas before you start to get some traction. I think that's just the way it goes. That's, if you read any of these like business books or like business biographies, that's a very common theme, right? Like these entrepreneurs like that go on and make billion-dollar companies, they always have like 40 different ideas that they tried first. So, you know, it's just one of those things, it's just like everything, right? You just gotta keep trying and keep learning. But thank you, Dione, I appreciate that. Okay, so in here, I need to rename this to player stat label placeholder. And then I need node private instance placeholder engraved label placeholder. So get statistics here. So this is a tuple. And the reason this is a tuple is because it's passing back the label, and it's also passing back the value of the statistic that I want to show people. So I think I need to change this data structure here. So this data structure probably needs to instead be I'm going to create a new class down here. I think I have to make this class public, but I don't remember. So I'm going to do statistic category, and I'm going to create a public string header, and then we'll do list. Okay. So that's my statistic category. So this return type is now going to become a return type of statistic category. Okay. And then this in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say var general is equal to new statistic category. Header is equal to general. Values is equal to that. Oops, wrong way. And then I would return general and then whatever else I want to return. Inconsistent accessibility, yeah, so I think I need to make this public then. Okay, so now that's broken my stat screen, but that's because for each var statistic category in, did I spell that right? Statistic, yeah. In get statistics here, what I'm going to need to do is create that header. So, oh shoot. I think I need to put the header down here. Oh, this is not going to work, is it? I was going to use the placeholders very cleverly, but I don't think that's going to work. Whatever, I can just deal with it. So let's do this. Var header is equal to engraved header, engraved label placeholder dot create instance as engraved header. I believe I can just set the text in here, yeah. So we're going to say header dot text is equal to statistic category dot header, and then I need to move this to be the last child. So I'm just going to do something very simple. Get parent. Also, I don't want to do this in the ready method, but I'll worry about that later. Get parent dot move child header to index. Can I just set this to like that without having to grab the actual index value? Can I be lazy? For each var label val in statistic category dot values. Cool. Player stat label placeholder. Okay, now all of this I'm going to move and I'm going to call create labels. I have a hunch, and I haven't really measured this, but if you are creating UI elements dynamically when the scene is created, I have a hunch that it's better to do that in the instantiation signal, or at least before the thing enters the scene tree, especially with layouts that have a lot of containers and stuff, because every time, if you're in the ready method, then the control node is already in the scene tree, right? And so every new node, every new control node you add to the tree, once it's already in the tree, triggers a recalculation of all of the flow of the containers. And I have a hunch that that is relatively slow when you're adding a lot of things. Like I'm going to be adding dozens of labels here. So again, this is all just me speaking sort of on my hunch, but if you create all of the tree structure before this node or this subtree has actually been added to the scene tree, then it's not doing any calculations, it's not emitting any signals. Is it emitting signals? I don't think it's doing any calculations though, like layout calculations when it's not in the tree. And it's not doing any rendering or anything. So it should be faster to create everything prior to adding it to the tree. At least that's my hunch. That has, in at least one case in this game, made a UI more responsive. But it's also useful to do that dynamic creation before things enter the tree for animation purposes. So one of the problems that I was ending up with like my chain animations where the panels come down is if that animation starts before the entirety of the tree has been built, then it might use wrong calculations about where to start the thing, where to end the thing in terms of it animating up and down. Whereas if you construct the entire tree prior to adding it to the tree and prior to that animation playing, then everything's going to be in place. So anyway, So that's just something that I'm going to try from now on, is just creating my dynamically generated UIs prior to the ready method, prior to the thing being added to the tree. And I think that that's just going to be generally a lot nicer and cleaner. Now, I don't actually know if placeholders work outside of the tree though, so that's okay though. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and see if this works. I'm probably gonna get an error for wanting to move the thing to the last index. Okay, yeah, it didn't work. Object reference not set to an instance of object. Oh, it's an engraved header placeholder. I named it wrong. Okay. Yeah, so the placeholders don't work. They don't, it doesn't really. Why would placeholders not work if they're not inside the tree? Well, that's unfortunate, but that's all right. That's all right. We're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way. So I'll create 2 exports, private packed scene. Player stat label scene. We'll get rid of these instance placeholders. Delete these from here. We need the stat container here. We'll need a reference to that. Node private control stat container. Okay. And then in here, engraved header scene dot instantiate instancer. I need to rename this. One of the problems of this is an interesting little factoid, but if you're using C# and you do packed scene instantiate or null, and then you say like, I don't know, resource. So if you try to cast it wrong in this instantiator null, this will instantiate and then cast to the type that you pass in using the as keyword. And the problem is that if this returns null, you still have an instantiated node. So that creates an orphan node. So if this cast fails, you just get a permanent orphan node in your game, which, you know, shouldn't be happening anyway. I mean, it should be pretty obvious that that's breaking, but when I wrote this instancer free, which checks the cast. So it instantiates it, checks it with this cast. So if node is T result, and if not, then it queues that and pushes or it frees that rather, and pushes a warning so you don't end up with an orphan node. So anyway, I thought that was a little interesting factoid, but this is not relevant because I'm just going to do that. Okay. Instancer free player stat label. Cool. So that's all working. I need to build this then. You read the doc to learn these things, or you do courses. Yeah, so that, what I just mentioned, that's not in the docs. Honestly, a lot of my learning has just been building stuff in Godot, and then when you hit those weird situations where you're like, why are there orphan nodes being created? You know, that's just kind of how you organically discover the little quirks and whatnot. Sometimes I will also go and just look at the Godot source code. So I don't write any code in C++, but it's pretty easy to understand at least at a very high level. So if I have questions about like how something actually works internally, I'll just go to the Godot repo and like look at the relevant method and see what's going on. I mean, that's one of the ways I've found out that, you know, a lot of people have this impression. I've mentioned this before, but when you add a node to a group and then you do get tree, you know, get nodes in group, a lot of people assume that that scans the scene tree. And I was like, that doesn't sound right, but I'm going to double check. And that's how I discovered that, yeah, the node groups are actually stored as hash maps under the hood, aka dictionaries. So it's not actually scanning the whole tree. But that's not something I don't think that's something that's actually explicitly documented in the documentation, but it is something that you can discover by looking at the implementation. So yeah. So there's a lot of ways to learn, but yeah, the docs they're definitely not complete in terms of like telling you all the weird quirks. Do you use viewport textures? I always have an issue where they lose path to their sub viewport. I was actually using viewport textures in Godot 3 for Gunforged because since my guns are created out of 3 parts and all of the things in my game are outlined in black, I needed a way to put all the gun parts together from 3 separate sprites and then outline them as a unit. Because if I outlined the individual sprites and put them together, it would look wrong, right? And so I was using viewports or sub-viewports in Godot 3 to accomplish that effect, but in Godot 4 now, I just use canvas groups, which are much easier to work with when you need like a coherent single texture. So, yeah. But I do recall having that problem, Jack, with the viewport textures just consistently acting unreliably. Oops. Cool. All right, let's run this now and see. Oh, you know what? Stat container dot add child header. Stat container dot add child. So I actually don't need to do this anymore. Add child label instance. I wish canvas groups could be nested, yeah. One of the best features of... Oh, I see. I got you. Yeah, one of the best features of GameMaker that I really wish Godot had a similar thing. GameMaker had the concept of surfaces, which were basically like textures that you could draw to very efficiently, and you could layer them in all kinds of ways. So if you wanted to have like blood decals on the ground or whatever, you would just draw the blood sprite or whatever to your surface, which is just a texture basically, and then it would just render that entire texture with very minimal effort. Instead of having a bunch of individual sprites, you just had a texture that was a single image. And they were really, I wouldn't say they were easy to work with, but they were like really handy for accomplishing a lot of the kinds of effects that you'd want to accomplish in game dev. And so I wish Godot had something like that. Like I wish you could just say, I want to draw this stuff to a texture, grab that texture and then draw it, you know. And you can create textures through Godot, but I don't know if it's as performant as, you know, I don't know if Godot uses the GPU for that. Because you can change like the pixel colors of a texture, but I don't know if you'd want to do that at runtime. So okay, so we got the general stats here. Okay, so let me look at the other things that I want to do. So if I look at my statistics, let me see what I have. Yeah, so I'm going to create like a status group here. Header is equal to statuses values is equal to that. This would be like fire damage dealt. So this is going to be a little bit... I don't have a very good way of iterating over the stats, so I just kind of have to do this. So we'll do dealt and then applied. Do I have like an oil stack supplied? Yeah, oil doesn't have damage. So let's do this. Okay. What else? I have poison. Bleed shock, of course. How could I forget shock? So I probably want to... Do I want to alphabetize this? Let's alphabetize it. Okay, so that will give me all the damage and whatnot. So I can just put statuses in that list here, and let's see how that looks. I'm going to need to add a scroll container here as well. Hello, Ariane. Welcome back. Great to see you. Hello, Maikun. Welcome back to you as well. 4 days left. Yes, yes, indeed. Hello, Dev by Slavi. I hope work is going good. It is. Thank you. Great to have you here. Yeah. So look at this. So we're getting there. So bleed damage dealt, bleed stacks applied. Why does that not sound right? I guess that makes sense. Anyway, so I've got all these statistics and I just want to surface them to the player. 0 oil stacks applied. That sounds suspicious. Maybe I don't. No, that should just be tracking it. So maybe I haven't actually done that. Haunt damage dealt, haunt stacks applied. That sounds wrong. But maybe it's not. That's the funny thing about these stats. But anyway, I'm gonna have to create a scroll container here. And the question is, where do I put the scroll container? Do I want to put it here? Scroll container. Maybe if I need to do like a minimum height here. That might be a little bit too much. That'll work. So I do the minimum height there, put the stat container in. That's not right. Oh, 196, okay. Okay, horizontal disabled, vertical scroll mode, always show. Just so I have an idea of what's going on here. These markers here are correct. Instantiate child scene, engraved header. Right, this stat container needs to expand. Yeah, shoot. I'm gonna need padding on that side. So I wonder if I got this wrong. I wonder if I should do... margin container under the scroll container there. I think that will work better. Layout, container sizing, expand. There we go. Maybe no left margin. Margin top. We don't need a margin top either, I don't think. Margin bottom. Probably do want a margin bottom, actually. Okay. Well, let's just see what happens. Why can't I rename this? Oh, because there's already a panel container. I see. Okay. Hello, Conrad. Man, your game is looking epic. Wish you all the best on release day. Thank you. I very much appreciate that. Thank you. How do you get such perfect looking text? Yeah, so the thing about text is you just have to make sure... Ooh, that's not good. The text, you just have to make sure that it's... If you're doing pixel text, you want to make sure that it's a pixel font, right? So if you're doing a low-res game, you want to make sure it's like a pixel font, because pixel font are designed to look good on small screen sizes or small render sizes. But you also, the big trick with pixel fonts is that you have to make sure that they're sized in multiples of whatever size they were designed for. So if a pixel font was designed for to be 8 pixels tall, then you can only use 8 pixels, 16 pixels, 24 pixels. You can't use anything in between that. They have to be multiples, just by the nature of how pixel art games work. Because, you know, if you were to scale up an 8 pixel font, 8 pixel tall font to 10 pixels, it's like, well, where do the extra 2 pixels come from? Like, you can't recreate the glyph properly with just like 2 extra pixels, right? So it's going to look janky. In order to get a proper upscaling or proper crispness, it needs to be double the size. So it needs to be 16 instead of 8. So yeah, I hope that helps. And yeah, one cool thing, by the way, is I'm going to show you this. Check it out. I'm going to go to Steam here. Check this out. Oops. What's going on? Did I click on something? Anyway, if I go here, popular... Oh, wait. I clicked on something on accident. Okay. If I scroll down, if I go to popular upcoming, so if I go... So Gunforged is not here, but if I go to more upcoming releases, popular upcoming releases, check it out. Gunforged is right there. I know you can't really see it that well, but... So look at that. First page of popular upcoming releases. Gunforged is the very last item, but it's there. It's there. So that's pretty cool. That's definitely a first for me to show up in the Steam popular upcoming. So there we go. So that's a little bit something worth celebrating there. It's a cool bug. Oh yeah, this is a cool bug, yeah. I'm going to work, but thank you for the responses. You help a lot to improve my English and my code. Yeah, for sure. Thanks for stopping by, Dione. Always good to see you. And I hope you have a good day. Oh yeah, Wikipedia does do that. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Conrad. I'm very looking forward to it. I hope that it sells well. We'll see. If it makes a modest amount of money, I'm going to be able to very comfortably get through the rest of this year. Just, you know, with the money that I have and the money that I'm making, which means that I'll be able to, hopefully, I'll be able to release another commercial game before the end of the year. And it's not going to take 4 years this time. Like my goal is the game after Gunforged needs to be done in like 6 months. You know, plus or minus a month or 2 for like prototyping. Well, plus a month or 2 for prototyping to really like figure out what kind of game I want to make, and then just go all in on making that game work. I think what I'll probably do is, I don't know, this is kind of a tangent. Maybe I shouldn't go on a tangent, but what I'll probably do is I'll probably borrow a lot of what I learned from Gunforged, because what I don't want to do is I don't want to say, okay, I'm going to make a game in an entirely different genre. You know, I would rather, if my goal is to try to make money, then what I would rather do is stick to what I'm learning and stick to what I know and not rock the boat too much, right? Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to make a clone of Gunforged, but it does mean that the things I learned with regard to like roguelite design and pixel art and, you know, controls and all that stuff, just like keep all of that and shift it into a different game with a slightly different formula. That's obviously not Gunforged, but still has some similarities, because I don't want to, like I said, I just don't want to start from scratch and start learning how to build a good puzzle game, right? I don't want to learn how to build a good first-person shooter. I gotta stick with what I know and just keep building on top of that. So I think, yeah, I'll probably do like another action roguelike for my next game. But yeah, I think I've talked about that before, so maybe I'll just leave it at that for now. Hello, Brett Curry. Love seeing how extensible and modular your framework is for Gunforged. Very impressive stuff. Been tuning in the past week while I work. Release prep is going well. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's one of the most important things, is like you get a nice framework built up for your game. Especially, I mean, it depends like on what kind of game you're making, I guess, but with a game that has a lot of systems like this, like just designing the systems well and robustly and extensively lets you iterate really quickly. And I think that's really important. It's probably important for any game that you make, honestly. It's just like you need to have your systems in check. Did you make, license, or hire someone for the music? I did, yeah. I hired somebody for it. So yeah, it was, I think all in all I spent $600 on the, let's see, there are 5 tracks in the game. So there's 1 track for each of the arenas: cave, dungeon, graveyard. Then there's a hub track, so the hub room has its own music. And then there's an intermission track which plays in between each wave. So there's 5 tracks. I think they're all 2 minutes long. So yeah, it wasn't that expensive. I mean, it was still an expense, but it was definitely reasonable. And I think the musician did a great job. Good mindset. Yeah, thank you. And thank you. It feels like a good achievement, but we'll see. Everything's up in the air. Using what you learned and building upon your skills in previous systems is very valid. Can focus more on gameplay elements rather than learning the basics of that genre. Yeah, exactly. And plus, I'll just have more, since I'm more familiar with what needs to be done and the pitfalls and everything, I can build the game correctly from the ground up, instead of like with Gunforged going through like several redesigns. Like I don't have the time to go through several redesigns. So yeah. Anyway, I'm stalling a little bit, if I'm being honest, because like this screen is so boring. Oh, just adding stats to a freaking panel. Ugh. It's fine though. I don't really have that many more categories I want to add actually, but maybe I should get into continuing to build this here. So I will say though that I am feeling like I'm glad that Gunforged will be done, because I've been working really hard the past couple weeks and I'm just ready to like chill and do nothing for a bit, but gotta finish strong, you know? So let's see. Prize wheel uses. Yeah, so let's see. So I covered this section. I'm gonna create a boss section actually, which could contain a spoiler, but maybe that's fine. And I have the individual. Yeah. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll create an arenas section here. Let's see. Yeah, so let's create an arenas section. New Newtonsoft, no. New statistic category. Header equals arenas. Or I'll call this levels. I don't think I'm using that arenas term anywhere in game. Okay, so here. Let's see. I already forgot what these stats are called. Dungeon wins. Okay, so I want to track all the wins and losses here. So, oops. Okay, so dungeon wins, dungeon losses, dot dungeon wins. Oh, I probably want a madness section as well. Shoot. This should be relatively easy though. Boom, boom. Graveyard. Yeah, I guess the stat screen is going to be a little bit of a spoiler. You know what I could do actually is I could probably... Do I have a way of... If save manager dot is, do I not have like an is level unlocked? Oh, I guess I could do save manager dot statistics dot dungeon wins greater than 0. I should probably create a helper method that just lets me check. But here's what I'll do. Instead of doing spoilers, I just won't show the relevant statistics until I just won't show the relevant statistics until you actually can see them. Right? That makes sense. Gosh, I'm so smart. If save manager dot statistics dot graveyard wins is greater than 0, then we'll go ahead and push that as well. Oh my gosh. Cave wins, cool. Okay, then I'm going to create a bosses category as well. Oh, let's put arenas here. Actually, you know what? If this is going to have to be a different one. So we'll initialize this to 0. And I'm just going to have to check every individual statistic here. So if... Shoot. Well, that's fine. So if... Let me turn this on. Hold on. The new update made the demo possible to run on my Linux OS. Now I can buy it. I can't see the price, though. What are you selling it for? Should I announce the price right now? Should I do that? Okay, I'm pretty set on the price, so... Okay, here's the price of Gunforged. Ready? Everyone, put down your work. Perk up your ears. Here's the price of Gunforged. Everyone ready for it? Okay, here we go. Gunforged is going to be $8.99 US dollars. And it's going to have regional pricing as well. So in the US, it's going to cost that much. It's going to be adjusted automatically by Steam based on where you're at. And there's also going to be a 20% week-long launch discount. So it's not going to be full price at launch. So that's how much it's going to cost. And I think it's very reasonable compared to other games in the genre. I was looking at games like Nimrods and other Survivors likes, and I was looking at Brotato. So I think that it's a fair price. I think that there's enough content to justify the $9 or $8.99 price tag. And it's also a high enough value where if I get a decent number of sales, it's going to be a pretty nice chunk of money for me. So So yeah, I think it's a good price. I said it would be under $10, and it is. So there you go. I literally unmuted from a meeting in the middle of that. Did you say $8.99? Yes, I did. $8.99 USD. Yep. Where can I see Gunforged in the Steam upcoming page? Yeah, so if you just go to, I think I closed the page, but if you just go to popular upcoming, there's a popular upcoming tab on the home screen, and then you can see Gunforged there, hopefully. I suffer from the opposite of this mindset, always looking for the shiny object, yeah. Gunforged 2 when? Oh my gosh. Gosh, I'm so smart, humblest man alive. I'm a million times as humble as thou art. Anyone ever seen that Weird Al Yankovic? What is it called? Amish something? It's a parody of Coolio's song, Amish Paradise. Does the plugin not format arrays? Yeah, I don't know what's going on. VS Code is not a C# oriented IDE, so it's a little janky sometimes. Hello, Night Warrior. No, you didn't force me. I already revealed the price to one of the content creators that I emailed, so it's kind of already out of the bag. I'm kind of already locked in anyway, so. But I also have I'm working on a devlog that's going to release on release day after. Oh, I have so much to do. So on release day, there's a couple of things I'm going to do. So I'm going to release a new Gunforged devlog on release day. That just basically covers the fact that the game is finished. And then I'm also going to set up a stream. So I'm not going to be doing a stream on Monday, because what I'll be doing is I'll be streaming to Steam. So I'll be streaming like watch the developer play on the Gunforged Steam page. And my plan there is to basically delete my Gunforged save and just play Gunforged for like 2 or 3 or 4 hours even, and get as far as I can live during the initial launch. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to record that footage and set it up to loop so that it's playing constantly on the Steam page all through that through launch week. So I got a lot of stuff to do. I'm running out of time. Anyway. Wow. Yes. Sweet. Manager gone crazy. Warriors Abyss just came out, so I might buy it but not play it right away. Oh, interesting. I gotta look up that game. Is that similar to Gunforged in the same genre? Developing on a Windows machine? How come you release it on Mac OS? Love it. Yeah. So Godot supports exporting to Linux and Mac OS desktop platforms without any extra special hardware. So I mean, if you want to notarize your like Mac OS apps, then you have to get a bunch of stuff set up. But the nice thing about Steam is that I think it does all that for you. So you just upload the non-notarized stuff to Steam and it handles all the gatekeeper whatnot for you. But I also have a Mac that I tested on. So yeah, Gunforged will be available on all the desktop platforms. Very cool. Very cool. It's a Survivors-esque game. Gotcha. Okay. Okay, so let me do this. So bosses, so if save manager dot statistics dot rat king kills is greater than 0. This is going to be kind of annoying. Bosses dot values dot add rat king kills toString. So I'm just going to need to do this for every boss. Save manager dot statistics dot lowrider spider kills greater than 0. So I guess I don't need to rewrite all this. I can just. So I don't want the stat screen to be a spoiler. So that's why I'm going through all this effort. Okay, what's the next one? Zombie Tycoon. Mausoleum Magnate. I forgot if I called it skeleton or skeletal. Skeletal snake, okay. it's called skeleton snake in the code, and then it's called skeletal snake in the UI. So you know how it goes. Okay, so mole rat kills. Nakey the mole rat kills. All right, this one's going to be an ultimate spoiler. Not really ultimate, but if you don't want to know the name of the final boss of the cave level, then look away. All right, you have been warned. I won't say it verbally either. I'll just type it out. Okay, added the last boss, and I've scrolled up. Well, actually, it's going to be on the screen, so avert your eyes if you don't want spoilers. So let's do this. If bosses.values.length or count is greater than 0, you know what? I'm actually not going to do that. I'm just going to return bosses here. And then in my stats screen, what I'll do is I'll just say if statistic category dot values dot length. Why do I keep getting count and length messed up? That's so annoying to me. Like list objects, the length property is dot count, but in arrays it's dot. Wait, am I getting it wrong again? In arrays it's dot length, and in lists it's dot count. Why is that not the same? I mean, I'm sure it's just like there's got to be a good reason. There's got to be a good reason. But anyway, it'd just be kind of funny to create an extension method that just adds a dot length property or something. So if it's equal to 0, we'll just continue. So we'll skip that loop. Okay, let's go ahead and see if that all worked. I dislike C# default formatting a lot. I'm actually not sure. This might not be the default formatting. I might have tweaked this. So you basically insulted my custom formatting here, so I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding about having customized it, but I don't get, you know, if you don't like the style, then you don't like the style, you know? Same with append and push. Yeah. It's like, it can't be too hard. Like, can't they just say, hey, in C#, you know, whatever number we're on, we are going to start deprecating the old names and we're going to unify everything? I don't know. Seems kind of silly to me. Seems kind of silly to me. I'm just going to double check and make sure that all of these things are correct here. Okay. Is there any other statistics that I want to show on that screen? I've covered these ones. I've covered these ones. I've covered these ones. I've covered that. Yeah, I might as well do the encounters. So might as well just do the encounters down there. So let's do var encounters. What else? Oh, I'm not keeping track of the shopkeeper. Maybe I should add a statistic for shop items bought. Health, sacrifice, what is the other ones? Well uses, okay. Wells. Yeah, I'm gonna add a statistic for shop items bought. Might as well. Wouldn't be that hard, and it would be kind of a fun stat to track. I see. Do I have an editor config file? I do have an editor config. Oh, but I just disabled a bunch of diagnostics. Okay. I've used the gun scrambler 22 times. I've used the prize wheel no times. That doesn't sound right. Let me see. Oh, I mean, that's working, so I must not have done that. I guess one of the things I can try here is, let's go to the random encounter handler. First of all, add more stats to stats screen. So push that. I have made my own formatting rules for it to format with K and R style. CJS. I don't know if I'm familiar with the K and R style. I use a lot of JavaScript, but I forgot, like we just used, we actually had a pretty customized JavaScript style / TypeScript style at my job. Do you plan to do DLCs? It depends on the success of Gunforged. Like if Gunforged sells like beyond my imagination, and I could reasonably get like a couple thousand DLC sales, then I would definitely consider it. But if Gunforged does moderately well, or let's say it hits kind of like near what my personal ambition is, I probably would just more likely maybe just push a couple of content patches. But I don't want to commit to anything either. You know, I don't know. It depends on the response of the people too, you know. It's like, I think the game is fun, but if a bunch of Steam reviewers are saying, yeah, it's an okay game, but it's like, it kind of gets, you know, boring after a while, then I'm not sure it would be worthwhile just to stuff more content into it. But if people get through the game and they're like, we just want more, like we just want more Gunforged, then that's going to be an entirely different thing. So it's all up in the air right now. I'm not exactly sure. I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, you know? So I need to go to the random encounter handler. I was going to test the prize wheel stuff. Prize wheel. Boom. Okay, let's go ahead and go in. I just noticed the wrist brace. Are you having wrist issues? If so, I hope it gets better with post-release rest. No, I'm not. It's actually a prophylactic measure. It's a preventative issue. I do a lot of stuff with my wrist, so obviously sitting at the computer working all day, but I also play guitar, and that's not exactly easy on my wrist, especially the kind of music that I like to play. And I have had like some wrist pain in the past, so I just started getting ahead of it and just like stabilize it to avoid, to preempt any tendon issues I might have, you know what I mean? But thank you for your concern. I'm not having any issues right now, precisely because of it. Let's see. I need to make sure I have enough gold. Here we go. I'm playing grindcore in the spare time. No, I mean I play a lot of metal, so doing the palm mutes and the downstrokes can put some strain on the tendons in your wrist. Ooh, I hit the oh my gosh. I hit the small sliver gold. How many sales would you personally call a success for Gunforged? I'm hoping, like, my low expectation is that Gunforged sells like 1,000 or 2,000 copies. I would say that would be a success. I mean, you know, oh, I hit it again. Wow. Even if Gunforged sells like a couple hundred copies, that would be a nice victory, I guess. But I would love to hit at least 1,000 or 2,000. But my like upper limit, or my upper ambitious goal is 10,000 copies. So 10,000 copies at $9 US minus the 30% cut in taxes. So we'll just call it like, I don't know, $4. That'd be $40,000, which would be a very nice amount of money to have for my savings account. But I don't know if I'm going to hit that, so we'll see. But yeah, if it sells beyond 10,000, I'm going to be like beside myself. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Could search almond versus K&R to see the difference. Yeah, I might do that. I'm curious to see. Let's see. Prizeful uses. Okay, so that is being tracked correctly. So that's good. Okay, so I'm going to do the shop now. I'm going to add some shop statistics. Yeah, the thing with statistics is like, you want to make sure you're tracking as much as possible. You want to make sure you're tracking as much as possible when the game first releases, because, you know, if players play several hours of your game and then you add a new statistic, it's like, it's as if they just started the game, you know? That's always a problem, right? You want to store as much information as you can get prior to the thing going live. It's always a problem in like, well, anyway, I won't go on a tangent. There's no reason to go on a tangent right now. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break. I need a refill of my drink, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And when I come back, I'm going to add a statistic to track how many items you've purchased from the shop. So that will be added to the statistics screen, but also that'll just be a useful statistic to have in case I ever want to add down the line like another Steam achievement, or if I ever want to make a weapon unlockable by buying a certain number of items. Like, having that data allows me to do some interesting stuff. So we'll go ahead and add that. And yeah, I'll go on my 2-minute break first. So while I'm on the break, please check out the links in the description below. The link for Gunforged, the Gunforged Steam page, is the first link in the description. It's coming out on Monday. So yeah, definitely consider purchasing that if it looks like your kind of game. Otherwise, you can check out my Udemy courses. Those are linked below as well. That's a great way to support me, and is also a great way to kickstart your Godot learning journey if you're interested in doing so. All right, I'll be right back in 2 minutes, and then we'll continue on with this work. All right, I'm back. So yeah, let's add that statistic. One other thing that I think would be interesting to show is maybe the process that I use to build the game for Steam. So maybe I'll go over that in case it's helpful for anyone after I add these statistics, or we can skip that and do something else. But anyway, let's go to the shop keep now. Try purchase item. Nope. Shop UI. So this try purchase item, shop item, da da da. So in here, I'm gonna go to run statistics manager. So I always run, no pun intended. I always run the statistics through this run statistics manager. And the reason is because I have some unlockables in game that involve, like, for example, to unlock the wasp gun, you need to dash 100 times in a single run. And so I need a differentiation between how many times you've dashed total over all of your sessions and how many times you've dashed in this session. So this run statistics manager, it actually uses the same exact statistics object as the overall statistics object, but it just creates a new instance of it every time you start a run. So I can track all the same statistics, and I basically just pipe that statistics tracking through this. So if I say increment enemies killed here, I can also add this check. If it is hub level, I can return, so I'm not tracking any statistics when you're just goofing off in the hub room. And this will implement the run statistics, enemies killed, but then it also increments the permanent statistics the same way. And so that allows me to track both of those at a time. So now I can delineate between what's your overall statistics and what are the statistics that happen for this specific run. It's a little bit repetitive though, because now if I want to do this, I have to do public static void increment shop items purchased, and then I have to do this if is hub level. So I'm sure there's a better way to do this. Maybe if I used like reflection or something, I could automate it a little bit more, but it's fine. It's fine. Statistics manager, or if I had some kind of like statistics registry or something. Anyway, so in here, and put this in this group here, shop items purchased, public ulong shop items purchased. Okay. Scroll down. Statistics dot shop items purchased plus, and then statistics manager. I need to do increments shop items purchased. And the reason why I'm using functions here is because there may be some cases where I want to emit a signal if an increment happens. So for instance, in increment gold spent, I'm actually emitting a signal during this, which I wouldn't be able to do if I was just referencing this directly and incrementing it, right? So if you're wondering why I have functions, it's so that I can add extra functionality whenever an incrementation happens, so that I can listen for those events if I need to. Now, the vast majority of events don't, or a vast majority of statistics don't have anything listening for them to actively change, but, you know, it's, I should just stick with a pattern, right? Instead of having like some places I just directly increment it and some places I have to call a function, it's better to just do everything the same way. And this also just makes it more extensible, like I said, in the future. So yeah, that's a little bit redundant here, but that's essentially how I do it. And then I go in here, run statistics manager, increment shop items purchased, like so. And I'm gonna stage these, stage that. And so now, if I go to my stats screen here, or no, yeah, in here, shop items purchased. Should I? Oh my gosh, do I have to sing the alphabet song? Wait. Oh, I could just sort. Nice. No alphabet song necessary. Okay. So that's alphabetized now. What was I doing? Oh, I gotta test it. Yeah, I gotta test it. Okay. Bam. Thank you, Mike Kundev, for the €1. Oh, what are the small euros called? The hundredths of a euro. It's not 49 cents, is it? €1 49 cents? That doesn't sound right, but maybe that is right. I guess cent because it's like a centennial, you know? For some reason, that doesn't sound right though, but thank you so much. I very much appreciate that. It's very generous. Thank you, thank you. Oh, it is cents. Okay, all right. Good to know. Hello, Apple. Welcome back. Hello, Splat. Good to see you as well. Firebelly, is it true that your belly is constantly on fire? No. No. Oh, gosh. Life would be miserable if that was the case. No, the name Fire... I had a Firebelly toad as a pet when I was a kid. And the very first time that my parents signed me up for an online, like, gaming account, we were trying to come up with a name, and they were like, well, you like that toad, how about we just call it Firebelly? And I was like, okay. And a little bit of Firebelly lore here is that my initial username that I very first created to play online games was spelled correctly. There was no EY at the end. But when I went to create an account, I think on like the PlayStation Network or something, that name was taken, so I had to add an EY to the end, like an intentional misspelling of it, and then that just stuck. So I've been Firebelly with an EY at the end ever since. There's your Firebelly lore. Okay, so let's see. I just need to purchase something. I purchased 3 items, and I'm going to abandon this run now. Shop items purchased 3. Boom. It works. All right, so those statistics are much better now. Let me make sure. I want to make sure I'm not going to alphabetize everything. Like this is not alphabetized because these show up in order. These bosses show up in order that you encounter them. These are alphabetized because that's a nicer ordering. These are ordered by the order you encounter them in. These are alphabetized, I believe. Yeah, those are alphabetized, and then these ones are ordered by importance. So how many runs have you started? How many runs have you won? Enemies killed, bosses killed, damage dealt, damage taken. So I just kind of like ordered these loosely by order of importance here. So yeah, but that's the new stat screen here. Oh, I really hate to say this, but I think there needs to be more padding around the headers here, which is going to be really annoying, actually. So, but I'll fix that. Cool. Add shop item statistic. Let's delete these. Tracking. So we'll add that. That will be in the game. Discard local changes and reload. That's fine. Okay. That is the same energy as my gaming name, Killpop, which my dad thought would be cool to add rare to the beginning. Oh, I see. Rare Killpop since then. That's cool. Yeah, the lore behind how people get their names, their online usernames is usually pretty entertaining. Does it make more sense to use global autoloads to handle managers in Godot, or does a node-based manager make more sense? I think it just depends on... Does it make sense to use global autoloads, or does a node-based manager? Yeah, it depends on the context, right? So I have some managers that only exist within the context of a level because they're not global. Like, so I have some managers that are for the run, right? So they encompass the 20 waves that you fight, and then that's it. So there's no reason for those to be global because they exist within the context of a run, but they're kind of semi-global in the sense that they always exist as long as you're in a run, if that makes sense, right? Whereas something like a game events singleton, or what are my other ones? Globals, yeah. So let's see. Like I have some things like this floating text manager. This is a global auto load manager that I use to spawn the floating text that you see in the games, like the numbers and stuff. This can be used in any context. So this can be used in a UI context. This can be used in a level, like to spawn a text float above an enemy's head, for instance. So that's good. I have a UI audio manager that has just a bunch of audio stream players that I can play UI sounds. So that way, I don't need to keep duplicating a bunch of sounds. I can just call the UI manager singleton to play certain UI sounds. The cursor is always present, so this is an auto load. Pause manager, same deal. Like you're always able to pause the game, so that's always there. Madness manager, I don't remember what this one does, but yeah. Unlock condition manager, I always need to be able to check unlock conditions. So yeah, that's just kind of that's kind of how I break it down. Like if something is pretty much guaranteed to be useful in any context in the game, then making it a global manager I think is a good idea. But you want to make the managers as narrow as is reasonable, and then like tailor them to that specific context and only make them available in that specific context as well, I think. All right, so these headers. I wonder if I could do something cheaty to make this easier. So instead of having a bunch of VBox containers, I can just add controls above and below. Is that going to work? That's going to work. Okay, I'm going to cheat. So instead of having a bunch of VBox containers, I'll just put a control before and after the header. And because they are part of the flow, they'll just automatically add some extra spacing above and below. That's a very nice little cheat there that I can have. So when I create the header, what I want to do is I want to first do stat container.addChild new control, and then do the same thing down here. So I'm adding the padding here. Easy money. There we go. Now I got extra padding between the headers and the actual stat list. Nice. Very good. Okay. All right, so add padding between stat list headers. So I'm gonna do a brief overview in case it's interesting for anyone on how I'm handling the build process here. So the way that I do it is I actually have a Node.js script that I wrote. So first of all, the reason, oops, I had left that up too much. I just realized, since you're talking about floating text, how do you manage your floating damage text? It looks cool. Yeah, so there's that floating text manager that I mentioned. And then basically all that this does is this will, let's see. So I can call spawn text float with this text float spawn args. And then here I can just give a number of parameters here. So color, position, spawn radius, text, but also the parent node. So I can target where in the tree I want to add the floating text. And then when I spawn it, it takes those parameters in, and basically it creates there's a resource preloader here. Floating text manager. This spawns this text float scene. And this scene here, of course that's the number that I used. So this scene here, it's just a center container with a label in it, and the center container is really wide because I wanted the text to be centered around the origin, right? And the reason why I made it super wide here is just so that I can, add a ton of text without it leaving that centering position. And it's a root node of type node 2D so that I can easily scale it. So since the node 2D doesn't have any boundaries and it's centered around the origin, as I apply the scale here, it scales the text around that origin, right? So that's really useful for scaling the text. So that's how I do the bouncy animations and whatnot. And that bounciness is just done with a tween, I believe. Let's see, text float. Yeah, the tween is in the text float class, actually. So there's a lot of code here, but it's really simple. It's just like take the parameters, create a text float object at the tree position, or at the position in the world, in the position of the scene tree that I want it to be. Play the tween that makes the bounce animation, and then in terms of accumulating damage, I just have this create or use damage float. And I believe, yeah, this is just a dictionary. And this dictionary just keeps track of who owns the text float. So like when an enemy takes damage, it'll say, oh, this enemy owns the text float. And so anytime that enemy takes damage again, it checks the dictionary and says, do I already have a text float? If I do, it basically just adds the damage number to the existing text float number, and then it restarts the animation. So that's how you get that accumulating text damage. So like it just keeps going up and restarting the animation. And if it finishes this animation, it floats away and it leaves, then it clears the dictionary and won't be reused. So hopefully that helps. Do you use a branch for each feature bug fix you're implementing? If so, how's your experience with Godot managing branch changes? Yeah, so I probably will use branches more after release because I have to be very careful, but when I do really big things, like when I added controller support, I spun off a branch for controller support, and then I just added everything there. And the reason is just because, you know, I don't want to start cluttering the master branch with a bunch of half-baked controller commits, right? That's a big feature. The controller support actually ended up being like something like 80 something commits. So I wanted that all to be merged as a group when it was done. And so that's how I tackle the larger features. But otherwise, I've just been committing everything to master. And what my general rule is that anything that gets committed to master has to build, right? So that ideally I could check out a commit at any point in the history and I could build the game and run it, right? I don't want to push anything that's objectively broken. But yeah, post-release, I will probably maintain like a branch for whatever set of features that I'm working on currently, and then any bug fixes will probably just go directly to the master branch, and then I'll just make sure to rebase my feature branch on master so that I'm getting those fixes into the feature branch as well, I guess you could say. But yeah, when I'm doing branch changes with Godot, typically what I'll do is if I need to do a branch change is I'll actually just close Godot. I'll close Godot, do my branch change, you know, do the fetch and everything, and then reopen Godot, because like I don't trust Godot to reload everything properly. So it's just safer when you're doing a big branch change to close Godot, switch your branch, reopen it, because like I said, I don't trust it. But that lack of trust might be unfounded, I don't know. Godot does have a history of like randomly corrupting things though, so I think Godot 4 is a lot better though. Anyway, so my release process that I was gonna go over in case it's interesting, I actually wrote a Node.js script here. And so the reason I'm not doing this in CI, continuous integration, is that one, building Godot games in the CI workflow is not... For some reason in Godot 4, I've never had luck with it producing a game that actually functions. Like, I can build Gunforged in a GitHub action, but it creates an exe that runs, but the game just doesn't work. And I don't know why that's happening. I'd have to dig into the logs, I'm sure, but... so I've just been building it from my computer here. I just go here, project, export. I choose export all. I've got my demo configurations here. And then I've got my release configurations. I export all. Those go to a folder on my desktop that's segregated by release and demo, and then further delineated by the platform. And then I also have, the other tricky thing is I have Steam DLLs or binaries that need to be copied over. So what happens is I build the game with export release. I do node zipper.mjs -- clean, and that rebuilds the directory structure. So it clears out all of the already built stuff and creates a brand new empty folder structure for me. And then after I create these builds, I do this zipper mjs -- copy. And what that does is that unzips the Mac zip file, because that gets exported as a zip file. And then once it does that, it copies over all of these Steam binaries to the relevant locations for both demo and release. And then when that's done, I have my directory structures all correct and my binaries built. And so then I just use the Steam GUI uploader to upload the release and demo to Steamworks, and that's how it goes. So I don't know if that's interesting to anyone, but yeah, I just wrote a script to handle all that copying for me, so it's as automated as possible, so I don't make any manual mistakes. But ideally this would be in CI, so I could just like push a tag and have it built, but like I said, it doesn't work for some reason with Godot 4, and I need to figure that out, but I didn't want to spend the time on it, so that's why I'm doing everything locally. What's the difference between using tweens and animation player node? I happen to use animation players a lot since I can see what I'm doing, unlike tweens since I need to play the scene. Yeah, I mean, I think animation players, you definitely have more fine control over tweens. With tweens, I think that those are really good for like very simple animations, like simple easings and bounciness and everything. And I didn't need anything complicated to happen with the animation player, so I just stuck to tweens. And I think I have a pretty good general feel for what kind of animation a tween is going to give me versus an animation player, and so I'm comfortable just using tweens in a lot of contexts. It's just easier than setting up, an animation player, setting it to autoplay, putting in the keyframes, when you could do a similar effect with just a couple of lines of tween code. But I think you should just use whatever's most comfortable. Oh yeah, a lot of imports break. Yeah, I don't know. Godot is a little janky when it comes to switching branches and building in CI and everything. I'm glad you guys found that interesting. That's good. Good. I wasn't expecting a build system made in JS, yeah. Well, the nice thing is, like, I have Node.js installed on my system and in my path or my environment variables, and so, and I'm very comfortable writing JavaScript code. And also the nice thing is that Node.js comes with a bunch of really nice to use, like, file system utils. So, yeah, it's very simple to just write all the code that I need. Actually, some of this is not, this is not used anymore, so I can probably delete this. Did I break something already? There we go. Okay. Remove outdated code from. Okay. I never used Node.js this way. Yeah, it's good. I think it's very easy, very straightforward. Okay, anyway, let's see. What do I want to do next? Let's do a quick playtest of Gunforged. Actually, is there anything else that I want to do here? That's done. Yeah, let's do a quick playtest. I do want to change some of the madness, the endgame system stuff. Some of the endgame system stuff is a little bit too easy. So I'll actually show you what I want to change here. I'm using a controller right now, so I got to get some more controller playtesting in, but it's feeling good. I haven't really noticed any problems. Let's get... Ooh, should I do the rocket gun? The rocket gun is interesting because it has one bullet. One bullet by its default configuration. Anyway, so these, getting hit causes you to drop 20 gold. Let's get rid of that. Let's keep that one. So these two right here, this bloodletting 1 and bloodletting 2, I don't think that these are difficult enough. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to change this. So right now it's take 1 damage at the beginning of a run. This one is also take 1 damage. So when you have both of those, you take 2 damage at the beginning. But it's relatively easy to recover from those. So I'm going to change these to actually deal more damage to the player. So if you take a hit, you'll actually take 2 damage. And if you have the second one enabled, you'll take 3 damage. I think that's going to be much more difficult. So I'm definitely going to do that, I think. Let's do this. Let's turn on Onslaught. So we're going to get 2 more max enemies per wave. And then let's go ahead and try... Let's do the Graveyard. Oh, it's locked. Okay. I actually do most of my real playtesting on the Steam build. So because this save is just kind of like filled with a bunch of debug nonsense, stuff that I shouldn't have unlocked that I do have unlocked. So I've actually been doing most of my playtesting on the actual Steam build with my actual Steam save. These chickens are so much fun. I was playing this morning and I had a chicken gun that was like ridiculous. Like the screen was filled with chickens. It was so fun. I'll take dodge. I never take dodgeball because I'm not very good at avoiding damage, but click and drag a gun part. Oh, that probably needs to change, huh? So I probably need to change that for a controller. Change tutorial verbiage for controller. So many things to do. Oh, and this doesn't get focused either. Okay. That was a part I missed for the controller support, so I'll have to do that. That's why we play test, right? Let's put some runes on these chickens. Do you like the chicken gun? Little rubber chicken. Anyway. Got some more rockets now, though. Do I have... Oh, dang it. I have aim assist, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I like playing without the crosshair. I can turn the crosshair on, but I actually think that's kind of distracting. You can turn it on if you want. Obviously, I just did it through the settings, but if you want to use a controller, I think it's off by default. It just feels a little bit more natural because you can see where you're aiming and you can feel where you're aiming because you aim in the direction of your joystick, you know? So it's like, it's pretty nice. Enemies that die while affected by a poison. I don't have any poison. That was probably a bad pick. I like Haunt a lot. Oh, that's an Axe magazine. You know what? I don't want to do any of these. I will actually... Oh, man. I'll shuffle it. YOLO. Ooh, kept my rocket magazine. Oh, but hard-boiled. Wait. Are the rockets going to shoot eggs too? Oh my goodness. They do. Wait, hold on. Go away, chickens. Yeah, the rockets are shooting eggs too. All right, we're going to go egg build. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna start to use JS from now on if I ever need a simple build system. So I prefer it more than Python. Thanks for the idea. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think making automated like build processes and JavaScript feels really nice. I need to update. I want to update that script so that it can build the games too, because you can build Godot games using a Godot command line argument. So I would love to have that script just do everything for me with a single command. So clean the directory, rebuild the directory structure, build the games using Godot, unzip the Mac zip file, copy over the Steam dependencies, and then pop open the Steam UI stuff so I can then upload it. I mean, I could do the Steam UI, I could do the Steam upload command line too, but I'm a little bit worried about doing that wrong, so I'd rather use the GUI. Let's do Friend of Hades. That's a good one. No, I want to keep the eggs. Oh, but this though. No, I'm not gonna do that. I really like those rocket bullets. They feel nice and chunky. This onslaught is actually really fun. Friend of Hades ×2. Let's take that. I don't want to get rid of my hard-boiled. Surgeon, okay. Set up a pipeline. Yeah, I don't know, maybe you weren't tuned in for that, but the reason I'm not building my games in a Godot or a GitHub workflow is that for some reason when the games are built in that pipeline, the output binaries they run, but they're broken. Like, it looks like a lot of the imports fail for some reason. So like I run the game that's built in a pipeline and my character has no guns in his hand. It's really weird. So I should fix that. I should figure out how to fix that, but I didn't have time to mess around with that. But yeah, I would love to have it. I mean, I wrote a GitHub action, like a Node.js based GitHub action that exports your Godot games for you with a minimal configuration, but it just doesn't work for this game at least. So, because I used to have it, a lot of my games, where I just push a tag to GitHub and then it builds the game at that tag commit, right? Or that tag hash, and then it creates a release for me, which was really nice, but doesn't work. Doesn't work anymore anyway. Increased movement speed, static. Let's do this one. I love the chicken gun. Yeah, me too. That's why I don't want to get rid of it. Oh, I can't believe I almost never get hit by those charge attacks from those maggots, but that time I did. Ooh. Goodness gracious. Okay. What did I take? Oh, I thought I took a movement speed thing. Maybe that's why I'm... Okay. I personally try to write a GitHub build inside of a Docker container, but Godot complains about not having X11 even in headless mode. Yeah, there's all kinds of weird issues with Godot in like a CI automated build process. It's fine though, like I can basically automate the build process just from my desktop. It would be nice to have it like not rely on my desktop, because then I could commit from a different device, you know, like a laptop or something, and then have it built. But that's not realistically a thing for me, so I can just kick off the build process locally. It's fine. I'm not salty. Laser barrel. This one might be fun. Ooh, yeah. So we got eggs and we got plasmoids. Yes. Okay, and then I also get a... Let's do that one. Okay. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. I dashed right into a spider centaur attack. I missed a rune. This is actually a little bit, or noticeably more challenging with the madness debuffs that I have. Bubbles. Another laser gun. I would love to get the laser magazine. Let's do that. Bleed. Ooh, pierce though. Piercing chickens? Yeah, piercing chickens is going to be good. That will increase their lifetime so they can spawn more eggs. That rocket speed is pretty nice too, and the capacity. Dang. Oh, bubble. That bubble is so cool. Oop. Oh, there's the shade. Yes, go. Have I been spawning the shade? I haven't really noticed it. Make a build server that pulls from the repo and builds each time there's a commit. Yeah. Like a local one. Static. Ooh, I got another static. Wait. I didn't know it was possible to get 2 statics. Wait a minute. Does that just increase the damage? Hold on. Oh yeah, it does increase the damage. Oh, look at... Oh, it's got 3 max stacks. Okay. All right. Deft reload is a good one. I gotta take that one because I can do this and... Nice. I can also spawn a bunch of chickens. Ooh, I can use this again. Blood Brothers. Thunderstorm. 55 gold. Blazing Trails. Oh my gosh. How many times can I use that? Oh, I might have to limit that. That was ridiculous. I mean, I spent a bunch of gold, but I also got a ton of passives. Oh my gosh. I was out of dashes. Oh! Go chickens! Nice. How did you do the charge attack indicator for maggots? Also the circle thingy that indicates danger on the range. I'm raining... Oh, raining you with animation-related questions. My game will come out heavily inspired by you. Well, that's fine. Honored to be an inspiration. Yeah, so that essentially what that is that's a canvas group. So basically what happens is for those circle indicators that you see on the ground, I'm just using Godot's built-in draw circle method to draw a bunch of circles to a canvas group so that all the circles become like one texture basically. And then I apply an outline shader to that canvas group. And the outline shader is just, it has a certain thickness, it has a certain color, and actually what I do is I oscillate between red and white for the outline, so it gives like a little bit of a pulsing color shift. And for the arrow charge thing, I think it's just very similar, except it's a texture rather than a primitive that gets drawn, I guess. They call primitives in 2D. But it's just a texture, but it's the same concept. It's like you draw that texture, like repeating, I think it might be a line 2D with a repeating arrow texture, and then that gets drawn, or that gets, drawn as part of a canvas group, and then again, I apply the outline shader to the canvas group. So all of those arrows and all of the circles get drawn to the same canvas group layer, or same canvas group node, and then I apply an outline shader to everything combined together. And that's how I get those blobs that are like meshed together. Does that make sense? I hope that was a good enough explanation. But yeah, canvas group and outline shaders, that's the basics of it. Let's take grill or be grilled. Ooh, do I want to get rid of my rockets? I really don't want to get rid of my rockets. I like the rockets. Okay. I can use this. Oh wait, I didn't use this yet, did I? I'm keeping my chicken gun. Stealing that, yeah, please do. I mean, I stole it from, not the exact implementation, but the idea from Voidago, which is like a roguelite shooter. I really liked the ground effects in those games, so I basically just... I didn't exactly copy it, but very heavily inspired by that. Ow! I'm not doing a whole lot of damage. Oof. Oh, I thought I was going to spawn a bubble. My mistake. There's a lot going on the screen right now. Oof, I was in trouble there. Imaginary friend, let's take it. Dang, it really wants me to upgrade my guns, doesn't it? Shoot. Alright, I unfortunately have to start upgrading my guns, so goodbye chickens. I still got eggs, so that's good. There's a shade. Ooh, 2 shades. Go! Where's my flesh monsters, though? Oh, there's one. I love the flesh monster! Look at him hop around. I don't know if you can see him. There's a lot going on, but... Ah! I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Goodness gracious. There he is. Look at how cute. Goodbye. Alright, well, my gun is practically ruined, so I'm gonna just scramble it probably. Good artists borrow, great artists steal. That's funny. Will that also make it merge? Canvas group? Yeah, canvas group. As long as everything's in a canvas group, it will merge together. Rooster gun that shoots roosters that get stuck on top of enemy mobs and deal damage for a few seconds. Animation could be them flapping around their wings or something. Kind of similar to the chicken gun. Yeah, I think that would be better as a passive. Or something. The challenge with adding a gun like that is that or the challenge with just adding new guns generally is that all of the bullets need to work with all of the runes, right? I don't want to have some bullets that don't work with some runes. So like, you know, you have to think about how would a rooster work if the bullets are configured to pierce, right? Would it just latch onto the last enemy that it hits before it dies? You know, there's just things like that have to be considered. And if there's too much, or if it's not easy enough to make it work with the existing runes, then I say, okay, well then in what way could I make it a passive, right? So it could be something like, I don't know. The thing is, like, I want to make it a passive that feels different than all the other passives too. So it could be like a permanent companion that just goes and like scratches people up, you know? I'm gonna reroll these. Slide into the DMs, let's go. Ugh. Okay, goodbye rockets. It was good while it lasted. Ooh, chain lightning. I have to make sure that I still have bleed and haunt though. Let's put chain lightning there. Maybe we'll do... Do I want pierce still? Yeah, I do. Okay, I'm actually going to scramble this gun. I changed the scrambler so that it doesn't reduce... Ooh, what's that? Oh my gosh, that's disturbing. Do you see this? Look at that rat banana gun. Wow. Okay, well. I'm not entirely sure I like that gun, so we're just gonna scramble it again. Yeah, the gun scrambler now, it's guaranteed to buff the DPS, and it's guaranteed to at least keep your rune slots intact. It also has a good chance to upgrade your rune slots, so. Ooh. We got a necromancer bullet. Or yeah, that's doing quite a lot of damage too. Got some more rune slots. Let's do bullet split, and then do I want to do range increase? Maybe push might be good. Oops, didn't go over far enough. Yes, okay. I should start experimenting with canvas group. Thanks, you're welcome. Yeah, canvas group is very, very useful in a lot of cases. Particularly for applying outlines to groups of textures. Oh my gosh. This is crazy. Ow. I couldn't move out of the way fast enough. I didn't have any dashes. Why am I so slow? I don't think I have any movement speed buffs. So I should probably conserve my dashes then. As I use all my dashes. Do I plan on updating my Godot GDScript course to cover the changes made to the more recent versions? For example, the tile map layer over tile map, as it got marked as deprecated in 4.3. Yeah, that is something that I want to do at some point. But the problem, like, is, you know, I just need the time to do it. I'm hoping that Gunforged gives me enough breathing room where I can sort of take my time in terms of the development of the next game and also do any coursework that I need to do, you know? But I also want to update my platformer course. That was the first course I made. And it's, first of all, the quality is not the same as my more recent courses, and also it's a Godot 3 course, so I want to bring that over to Godot 4 and also just up the quality. Courses are a lot of work though, because like sometimes the only way to update a course is to like re-record the whole thing. And that would be the case in terms of the platformer course, but also I'm not sure if I can just do narrow updates to the Vampire Survivors course, the Survivors Light course. I might have to... Oh my gosh, this is crazy. I might have to re-record that course too, which is a lot of work. Okay, I'm taking quickness. Ooh, there's the laser. Oh, but it doesn't do any damage. Might as well throw poison on here. Get some extra DPS. Do I have Fairy Godmothers unlocked? I don't think I do. Am I going to be able to apply every status effect here? What status effect am I missing? Oil. I need oil. If I can find oil and put it on one of my guns, I can unlock Fairy Godmothers. Because I think I have every other status. Fire, poison, bleed, haunt, shock. Yeah, if I can just find an oil, I can unlock Fairy Godmothers. Ooh, the thunderstorm. This is nuts. I've also got Hoarder, so it's increasing my damage based on how much gold is in my inventory. Increased health. Ooh. Let's see what's over here first. Might as well take Secret Service. Oh, my health got preserved too. Nice. Dude, excellent. Now I can just get free health. Excellent. I don't have oil though, of course. I think this happened last time. I was like really desperately looking for oil and couldn't find any. That's such a downgrade in terms of rune slots. Okay. These are the decisions we have to make. Those shades, look at how many shades I have. That's crazy. Oh, I dashed right into that. Give me some oil, come on. Come on. All right. I think it's time to scramble this gun. Oh, we got the chickens back. Now I've got skeletons and chickens. Okay. Still looking for oil, though. What's my hoarder damage at? My hoarder damage is 102%. I'm not going to spend any money. Here we go. Oof. Just keep collecting gold. Keep getting more damage. One of the reasons why I like this passive is that it encourages people to hold on to their gold, which means that they're more likely to exit the run with like hundreds of gold, which is going to help them boost them in terms of getting their upgrades purchased. Because I've noticed a lot of people who have play tested, they tend to spend a lot of their gold which is fine. That's part of the game. But it's also very fun to be able to exit a run with like 800 gold because it makes you able to purchase like 2 or 3 upgrades. Let's take bubbles times 2. That's a laser receiver. Do I have oil? Okay, oil doesn't exist in this game, I guess. Just doesn't exist. The fire dash effect is so much nicer. Thank you, yeah. Everyone was like, yeah. I mean, I agree, like the previous fire trail was very noisy. I think this one just fits better thematically and it's a little bit more muted. Oh my gosh, I have so many shades. Do I need to nerf that? It's kind of fun though, right? I'm not gonna nerf it. They don't do any direct damage, they just add max haunt stacks to everything, so. Why not? Why not? We're not gonna nerf it. We're not gonna be fun killers here. So many minions. Alright. Glass cannon, no. Let's take tag your it, get some more movement speed. Still no oil. That dash length, the slide into the DMs with the fire trail is a really nice synergy because you get a bigger fire trail. Sweet. Come on, I'm almost done. I need what you call it? Oil. Gee dang it. And I'm not getting a shop either. This game is BS. Well, I guess I can just try to scramble one of my guns. I don't want to get rid of the chickens again, but we'll do it. That is such a disturbing gun. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's an interesting one. Still no oil. Ooh, this got laser though. Okay, well. It's fine, I guess. I lost my chickens again. Does the stacking fire trail increase the pulses or the size of the burst? It does neither. It increases the damage. So right now, the fire dash trail... Let's see. What is it called? Blazing trails. So if I get another stack of that, it would increase the damage to 50%, I believe. So it does 25% now. The laser is so cool. I love the laser gun. The laser magazine, at least. All right. Well, I don't think I'm going to get oil, but let's see. Bloated. Let's do that one. Maybe I shouldn't have taken that. No oil. Rip. Should I do it? Should I do glass cannon for the last boss? Let's do it. What just happened? Wait a minute. That's not supposed to happen. Dang it. The dev stole my run from me. Let's see. What happened there? Okay. I think I know what happened. So the glass cannon. Oh, shoot. Okay. This is what happened here. So if glass cannon is chosen as a health sacrifice option, the player dies. So this is an order of operations issue. So what happens is the glass cannon sets your max health to 1 as soon as you choose it. But then when the screen finishes, that's when the health shrine kicks in. So it was setting my health to 1 first, and then it was decrementing my health by 1, setting it to 0. My max health got set to 0 actually, and that killed me. So what I need to do probably is, that's going to be very tough to solve, like an order of operations issue. So what I think I'll probably do is I'll probably just make it so that because the heart sacrifice shrine cannot spawn if you have 1 max health, it literally can't spawn. So to avoid you killing yourself by choosing a passive. So you have to have at least 2 max health for that heart sacrifice to spawn. The problem is that if a passive sets your max health to 1 and then it subtracts 1, you die. So I think the fix I'm going to do is just to detect in the heart sacrifice, only reduce the max health if the max health is greater than 1. That will fix that order of operations issue and any other similar issue that might crop up in the future. And it's not going to be a very sophisticated fix either. I don't have to worry about like reordering the whole like how the game works in terms of when passives activate. So that's a very tricksy thing, but I'm going to need to address that. Update tutorial verbiage and focus for controller. Do that. Okay, so that's a good thing I caught that. That's so funny that I was literally on wave 19 when that happened. That would absolutely tick me off if I was a player. Wave 19, get a cool new passive and just die immediately. Wow, terrible dev. Ruined my day. I'll fix that. That's why we playtest, folks. Do you plan on releasing Gunforged on other storefronts later on? Not at the moment, but it could be. I could do that. You went 1 health and the thing hurt you. Yeah, exactly, yeah. I like that the game over screen is a little like a gravestone dropping down. Yeah, thank you, Damien. How is it merging? Mine's not. Yeah, so you have to do the outline shader. So the outline shader that I wrote, basically what it does is it makes, or I didn't write it, I guess I modified it, but it makes the real pixels of the texture in the canvas group transparent, and it only outlines them. So I'm sorry if I didn't clarify that before. Yeah, the outline shader has to make the things that it's outlining transparent and only show the outline. Hello, Neozoid. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, so those lines that you see splat on my game, those are textures that are being outlined with the red color, and then the texture itself is set to transparent. So again, sorry if that wasn't clear before, but hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. So it's really just a circle. Yeah, I mean, in the case of the circular ones, yes, but the line ones are a texture. All right, so that's going to be it for the stream today. Did quite a long stream here, but yeah, thank you everyone for joining. Thank you all for chatting. It was a lot of fun. Started to think that it's a shader. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, you do have to do a shader to it for sure. But yeah, that's going to be it for the stream. Again, check out Gunforged. It's linked in the first link in the description below. So that's coming out on Monday. So definitely consider purchasing that if it's your kind of game. Otherwise, please check out my Udemy courses as well. Those will teach you how to build a complete game in the Godot engine. And what else? Yeah, everything you need to know about how to support my work is linked below. So any and all support is greatly appreciated. So thank you all for chatting with me. Thank you all for watching. And thank you also to the lurkers and VOD watchers out there. Very much appreciate it. And yeah, I will, what's today? Is today Thursday? So, yeah, so I'll be streaming again tomorrow at the same time, 10 a.m. Eastern. I hope to see you there. All right. Have a good day, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow.